Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Monday, May 30th, 2022 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I align my actions with my intent. And today we have a new moon in the sign of Gemini. This new moon is happening at 4:30 a.m. I don't want to go deep into this week ahead, but I'm going to just mention two things. I always do that for Monday. Even though it's a holiday, I'm going to mention just a few of these little things. Mercury goes direct this Friday. Whew, right? So few days of Mercury retrograde left to go. We also have Saturn actually going retrograde on Saturday. So we'll dig into that as we go through the week ahead. But today's focus is definitely on the new moon in Gemini. And a new moon, there's a few new moons that always feel powerful to me. The new moon in Gemini feels very powerful to me because of the energy of intent that goes hand in hand with setting intentions, planting seeds with new moon energy. So keeping in mind your mind in this new moon is a very powerful reminder. This at 9 degrees also reminds us, then let your actions align with your mind. That's the next step. Without that alignment, it doesn't really matter so much what your intentions are if you take your actions in the opposite direction. So that's what this new moon is reminding us. This new moon will blend in emotion and mind, so be aware of the stories that your mind is telling. Speaking of stories, now the Sabian symbol for this new moon, 9 degrees, is a quiver filled with arrows. And the keynote is man's aggressive relationship to natural life as a basis for survival and conquest. But it's interesting because as a Sagittarius, when I think of a quiver of arrows, I think of taking aim and being very aware of what you're taking aim to. And I think that really speaks of this year, this Astro year that we have going on with the North Node in Taurus, the South Node in Scorpio, leaning away from South Node habits that take us into survival mode and leaning into North Node Taurus energies of leaning into prosperity, leaning into nature, leaning into the abundance of this earth. And so in this, it seems like we're given a directive, which way we can go with our mind. We can go into survival. These arrows are for survival. We are going to hunt with this, right? Or we can move into, this is a reminder of how I am called to take aim. What am I aiming at? What am I moving for and toward in my life? So that's kind of this energy. And that's so Gemini, right? You have a choice. So Gemini, actually, top of the cards, I have the possibilities card. So there's lots of possibility in this energy. How are you going to utilize this? Now, this new moon is also very close to the point that Mars, in the future, is going to retrograde back to. So we're going to come back to this, like, choice point again. That's not going to be until January, actually, that Mars comes back around. But just keep that in the back of your mind. This is a choice point, and we have some directive. How are you taking this aim? But it will come back again. So just keep that in mind. Besides that, we actually have a quiet Astro day. We are coming off of Mars and Jupiter conjunct in Aries. Those energies are still very close, but they're moving away from each other. Mars is going on its merry way, but still watch for reckless actions. If you did not see my write-ups this weekend, both were very supportive. Venus is now in Taurus, reminding us again to take pleasure in the natural resources the planet has to offer us in a nice and balanced way. This doesn't mean going overboard with it, but especially if you have this day as a holiday, go outside and enjoy this energy, connect to it, remember that you are nature. So let's look at these Astro cards. It's interesting because we've got these flying energies, the possibilities and trust. And so that to me feels very aligned with, like, can you lean into that planetary energy? Can you lean into trust of abundance? And in that as well, we have this integration. And this feels like integrating ourselves as one with nature, as part of nature, integrating our mind and our heart, integrating what things may seem like opposites, finding your balance in there. We have the King of Swords, the control. And that's the thing, is like I never loved the control word, but we do have some semblance of control over our mind, and recognizing that our mind is a piece of our power of creativity. So working on focusing the mind. With Gemini, I know it can be very Tarzan, all over the place. I live that. But it is still possible to focus. Taking some time to focus. What is your intent? Are your actions aligned in that intent? And the final card that we have, Rebirth card, also a Swords card, 10 of Swords. I was reading something this weekend, somebody had pulled 10 of Swords for something, and in the 10 of Swords, it's like, the worst parts are over. And I was like, oh, I need to remember that, because that always feels appropriate, right? And that's kind of this energy with the rebirth. So again, we don't necessarily have to move into that survival mode. We can move into trust and align with that, align our intent with that, and align our actions with that. So that's it for today. You can book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. Besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and honor your values. Namaste.